Welcome everyone to another episode of Let's Talk Special Economic Zones. I'm your host Ainsley Brown. In today's episode, we're going to talk about something near and dear to my heart: governance, and it's taking a different angle this time around. So, governance, I want to say, is not just for the regulator. It is for it's everyone's business. It's everyone involved within an SEZ regime. Governance is part of what you do. If you're a developer who owns, operates a zone, um, you're at the center, you're at the heart of governance. It's not just for the regulator or regulators. You run your zone and you have your own rules and your own regulations, in effect, to say, your occupants, your tenants can do this or they can't do that. It's not just about collecting the rent at the end of the month. It's also about, how you have structured your zone, not just physically, but from a structural standpoint in terms of governance. How will you run your zone? Um, how will you interact with the regulator or regulators? Zones sometimes have one centralized regulator who has all powers, but um, most zones don't have that. There's still a diffusion of authority. So the customs authority, the tax authorities remain as regulators that you must interact with, and chances are they're the ones that are applying the fiscal benefits or fiscal incentives that you will benefit from being part of the zone. So how exactly you interact with those authorities is your business, of course. It's part of what you do. And you have to get that right in order to maximize the benefits to yourself. Likewise, as a developer, you have tenants. Whether you call them occupants or zone users or whatever you want to call them, you have tenants that you govern, right? So you have to have proper governance structures in place. One, to collect your rent at the end of the month. That's a form of governance, right? But also, what about the environmental impacts that have to be looked at? Also, you have certain obligations as well, which is part of your governance, regular maintenance. That's part of governance as well. So, as I said, it's governance is not just for the regulator; it is also everyone's business. For the occupants, you guys don't get away with it either. Governance is part of what you do. There are rules, of course, the developers' rules, the various regulators that you have to interact with, customs, the tax authorities, the environmental authorities, and so forth. But also, they're internationally. There are money laundering or anti-money laundering rules that you have to follow with the banks. So the banking governance structures, you have to fit into those, or you could find yourself in a spot of bother. Governance, as I'm going to keep saying it, is everyone's business, right? Not just the regulators. Um, Likewise, with occupants, there are other, whether local rules or international rules that they have to interact with, and you yourself will put in your own governance structures. You have employees that you have to put in certain structures to ensure that the work gets done in the proper way, right? That's all part of governance. When you're properly structured from top to bottom, whether it be the occupants, come up to the developer, come up to the regulator, it makes the regime, your SEZ regime, it makes your country that more attractive to investors because they know that there are proper structures, not just buildings that are properly built, which is very important, but structures that actually work behind the scenes that are hidden in many ways, not hidden, but they're still transparent in the sense of they're the rules that are published and function, but they're hidden in the sense that you can't see them like you can see a building or you can see a port and such and so forth. That type of infrastructure. This is the soft infrastructure that governs the hard infrastructure, and it's layered, right? Um, and it's not just about the governments or what governments do, but also what the private sector does in order to maximize benefits. proper governance will help to maximize benefits. So if you liked this episode, please like, share, leave a comment down below. And if you have any suggestions for new episodes, just let me know and I'll get right back to you.